It has been a crazy few days to say the least. We have Neddy the Noodle controversy, the consoles getting the shaft, unplayable servers, and of course PC players having to fork out that cheddar for some new equipment. This is nuts. Okay, so first of all, let's get started with the Neddy the Noodle controversy. Neddy the Noodle is a YouTuber that was planning on making a little side money. He was going to have his own servers, and he was going to have his community go in there and, all that good stuff, which is very understandable as a small business owner. But the problem that he ran into is that he could not actually do that because Nitrado had locked everything down to the point where you could really only have one single server. If you wanted to have more servers, then basically you had to buy more copies of Ark, which is kind of nuts, especially when the new maps come out. Then, of course, you would have to buy a new copy of ASA for every single map, and that's just crazy. And not only that, if he was planning on doing something at a much bigger scale, like having several of each map, then yeah, as you can imagine, that would be rough. And so ultimately, what they wanted you to do is go through them because through them, you could have as many as you want because you would end up having to pay them. And so Netty the Noodle did not like the way that these things were done. And I mean, I definitely can see why because there's a lot of issues here, like the Antitrust Act, which basically says that you have to allow for competition. And the way everything is right now, Nitrado has everything on lockdown, basically a monopoly. And so Neddy the Noodle ended up doing a video where he was clearly very upset at the way things were working out. And others chimed in, like you had G Portal who chimed in. But what's interesting about G Portal though is that they too had a monopoly on, I believe it was Conan Exiles for PlayStation. So of course now it doesn't benefit them, so they're having issues with this, and now they're all against the whole monopoly business. So yeah, that's a whole different situation there. But anyway, so the community got together and they started pushing back. And ultimately, it looks like things got sort of fixed because the devs came out and said that they had disabled the DRM. So the DRM is the digital rights management, where basically you can stop people from stealing your intellectual property. Because if you have a software that you create, somebody can get it from you, and then they can make copies and distribute it around, and you basically lose out on money. So what they did is they had that enabled, so that way nobody could set anything up without going through Nitrado. In that way, they also would know if you were using your copy for your own server, and that's how they stopped you from using any more than one server. So yeah, it was I mean, I think it was kind of messed up, but the community came through and they started pushing back. A lot of YouTubers started doing videos on this stuff, and I'm a little late to the game. Working on my machines, which that's a whole different story as well. But now that I'm here, it's like, oh man, there's so much been going on, and I was oblivious to it until here a day ago. And so now it looks like things kind of got fixed, but not really, because even though people can set up their servers now, they can't make money off of them. At least the way I understand it is you can't make money off of them unless you go through Nitrado. Because according to Nitrado, you can still monetize the servers that you get through them. So unless this changes, but right now it's still up, as you can see. Anyway, so now the big question is, what are they going to do about that? Like, for instance, where you can use Patreon to get money. How would they know if it's going to be the money's coming from the servers or they're just donating that money to you for, doing a good job or whatever, or they support you. So I mean, this is gonna get interesting, and I do have a feeling that some people are going to try it out and see what happens. I don't know. But I would say that there is a violation of the Antitrust Act because I mean, there is no competition. And also, as you can see, you can look at these prices that Nitrado is putting out, and they're kind of high considering that. Well, for ASE, I think we were paying like somewhere around $10 per server. We used to be part of their partner program, and they gave us two servers. But see, that's also a good way for them to force you to get more servers. So they gave us two servers, but there were so many different maps that we could not use only two servers. So yes, they gave us two servers for free, and that was nice. But then we ended up having to get like 3 or 4 other servers to put the other maps in and then put them in a cluster. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty slick. It's it's I guess it's a good business move. Yeah, this situation is kind of rough. So anyways, now the big question is what's going to happen? Are they gonna allow people to do basically what people used to do before, which is, like look at the MTS servers. They made a pretty good chunk of money by doing those. I don't know if you guys remember or if you guys are aware, but I actually played in those, and that was pretty nice because the service was great. If you had any issue, they would fix it right away. So, yeah, I mean, going to official, it's kind of rough. But anyways, moving up to these unplayable servers. Holy crap. That has been rough. Number one, it's super hard to get into any of the servers. It's constantly full. Whenever you check to see, if there's any servers that are available, you find out that, not even close, because even though it shows you that there's only like 20 or less people in there, once you try to go in, it tells you that it's full. And then if you do happen to get lucky and go in, you end up going through lag spikes, and then eventually you get kicked. And then, you spend hours trying to get back in. So that kind of sucks. And not to mention the part of where you have to upgrade your rigs, because what I had before was basically the bare minimum of what it's required right now. 1080 card and a 6th generation Intel CPU. And I mean, we did have plenty of RAM, but it still was not enough. The way that everything ran was just atrocious. And I spent a couple of hours at the beginning when the servers first came out, and then we got kicked. Of course, like I could barely see anything. The frame rate was horrible. And so I attribute it to, okay, it's not optimized. The servers are not optimized. So that's fine. But when we got kicked, I could have sworn right before we got kicked, there was somebody flying up in the sky. So needless to say, my server never came back up. We got kicked, and then I checked the next day, and nope, no server. So all that work, gone. So yeah, it was a little rough, but luckily right now they're doing a lot of updates. It is running better, and plus I finally finished setting up our new rigs with the latest stuff. So now it's pretty nice, and every time they optimize more of the servers, it's pretty amazing. So, we're getting there. I still don't have, we're not using NVIDIA, so we don't have the SSL. And they don't have the FSR available yet. Hopefully that'll come soon. But it's fine. We are getting about 111 frames per second, so we're okay. That's fine. We don't really need it, but we did have to do some tweaks. And as far as the consoles, guys, that sucks so bad. I was actually surprised at launch whenever they said the Steam is good to go. Boom, go and get it. But the consoles have to wait till November. And right now we have no date. When in November? The beginning? November is just a few days away, but what are the odds that they're going to come out at the beginning of November? Well, we don't know. If they keep on having troubles, they may end up pushing it back to the middle or the end of November. But all we can do is keep our fingers crossed. And here's the other thing that people have to think about. It's much cheaper to buy a console than upgrade your machine. So for instance, I ended up having to fork out nearly $1,000 for a new GPU. That is insane. When you can spend $550 and get yourself a new Xbox or PlayStation. Of course, we don't know at this point how well they're gonna do, but I would imagine it would be better than what we dealt with, the bare minimum, that our machines or that it's required to play this game. So, we will see. And as you guys know, a lot of you know that we started on Xbox back in the day. But we didn't like the fact that Xbox always got everything much, much later than PC. And that's the main reason that we went to PC in the first place, is because we needed to jump on it right away. So that way we could put out some good videos teaching you guys certain things that we had learned. So now we are kind of at the same place now. We're going to start pumping those videos out. But yeah, so what do you guys think about this whole drama? I guess several dramas. We still are going to kind of hold off to play on official. We are going to go to official PvE. But right now there's too many drops and too many issues. So we're going to wait a little bit. I am going to set up a server and I'm going to set it up to official stats so that way we can try to get as close as possible. But I do realize that there are some things that you cannot duplicate from official. There's some things that work on unofficial versus official. And we learned that the hard way back in the day, which is why we ended up going back to official. And so now that's what I want to do. I want to play on official and, make friends. Probably make some enemies. That always comes with the job, I guess. But anyways, if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe, like, and put the notifications on, so that way you won't miss any of my tips and all that good stuff. But with that said, that's it for me. So until next time, keep surviving.